Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to be doing a deep dive,
Oh, cool.
yeah, into what really makes a relationship strong.
Nice.
We all spend so much time worrying about likes and friend requests and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we're going to be looking at a blog post today called Quality Over Quantity: Why Deep Connections Trump a Million Likes.
I like that title.
Yeah, and it's from Bold Beginnings. Have you ever heard of that blog?
I have, yeah, they have some really great stuff.
Yeah. I thought it was really interesting, and they suggest that, a true connection brings more than just those like surface level benefits.
Totally. Yeah. And it's a topic that's fascinated people like for centuries. What
Yeah.
makes us really feel connected? And then how do those bonds affect our lives?
Yeah.
Like in ways we don't even think about sometimes.
Yeah. And this blog starts off talking about this pull of popularity, especially I feel like when we're in our 20s,
Oh, yeah.
it's all about, how many friends we have, how many followers,
Right. Exactly.
all that stuff.
So-
But we don't always think about how deep those connections actually are.
Yeah. When you think about it from like a developmental perspective, that's when people are figuring out who they are and where they fit in the world. So it's natural to look for some kind of validation from outside
Right.
to kind of like help figure out like who we're supposed to be.
And the blog post even mentions that those likes and those notifications
Yeah.
really start to feel like a measure of how like successful we are socially.
Mm-hmm.
But then, as we get a little older, as we
Yeah.
mature,
Yeah.
we start to realize that it's those authentic relationships
Right.
that really matter.
Those are the ones you can count on when things get tough.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's kind of like our priorities change. We want different types of connections.
Yeah.
We want the ones that are based on like shared values or understanding each other
Right.
or just like belonging somewhere.
Yeah.
So, we don't need all that superficial stuff anymore. We want the kinds of relationships that bring us joy.
Right. And make us feel like we have a purpose.
Exactly.
And here's where I thought it got really interesting. The blog describes that feeling of a deep connection as like magic. So what is it about these relationships, Is there something more than just liking the same things or having fun together?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have shared experiences,
Yeah.
but you also, have to be vulnerable. You got to be honest
Yeah.
and like just really support each other so you feel like you're really seen.
Right.
Those are the things that really create a strong bond. It's not just two people kind of like orbiting around each other.
Yeah.
You're really sharing life with each other, and that creates something special.
I love how they put it in the blog. They say it's the people who stand by you,
Oh, yeah.
celebrate your wins, but also know your flaws and still love you anyway.
It's so true. It's
Right.
all about authenticity.
Yeah.
You can be yourself. You don't have to worry about being judged.
Yeah.
And that's when the real magic happens. You feel free
Right.
and like validated. You can finally grow as a person.
Yeah, it's not something you're going to get from someone you just met or like from a connection online.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
need that face-to-face connection.
So the blog goes on to talk about the four main benefits of these really deep connections.
Yeah.
And those are authenticity, trust, support, and joy.
Nice.
So let's unpack those a bit. Starting with authenticity.
Yeah.
What does that even mean to be your true self in a relationship? Like, how does that lead to finding the right people?
So authenticity is about being genuine,
Okay.
showing all your flaws.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say what you're thinking or how you're feeling. And the great thing is that when you do that, you attract people who like the real you.
Right.
They're not interested in some fake version of you.
Yeah.
And you'll connect with people who appreciate you for who you really are.
It's like you're attracting like-minded people,
Yeah.
and that's how you can build a really genuine connection.
Yes.
It's not about trying to be someone you're not or trying to please everyone.
Yeah, just be yourself, and the right people will find you.
All right. So we've got authenticity. The next one is trust.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
The blog calls it like the bedrock of a solid relationship.
It is. It's like the foundation.
Yeah.
Without it, you can't really have anything else.
Yeah.
It's about feeling secure,
Mm-hmm.
knowing you can rely on someone,
Yeah.
knowing they'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But, trust doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
You have to earn it over time.
Yeah. So it's more than just words.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You have to back it up with actions.
So how do our actions either build or break trust?
Okay, so think of it like a bank account.
Okay.
Every time you do what you say you're going to do or you're honest, you're making a deposit.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're dishonest or you betray someone, that's a withdrawal.
Oh, okay.
And if you make too many withdrawals, the account's going to be empty and the relationship is going to suffer.
I like that analogy. So it's about being consistent and showing you are reliable.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so next, the blog talks about support
Okay.
and why it's so important to give and receive it.
Mm-hmm.
What are some ways that we can do that in these really deep connections?
Well, support can take a lot of forms,
Right.
like just listening when someone needs to talk,
Yeah.
or being there for someone when they're going through a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
You could help them out with something, or just encourage them.
Yeah.
And it's important to be able to receive support, too.
Okay.
You know, let yourself be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
That just makes the bond stronger. It shows trust.
Sometimes it's just nice to know someone's there,
Totally.
even if you don't need their help right now.
Yeah, like you have a safety net.
Right. Exactly.
If something goes wrong, you know someone's there to catch you.
Yeah.
And that can give you the confidence to, like, take risks and go after what you want.
Mm.
It makes everything a lot less scary.
All right. And then the last benefit the blog talks about is joy.
Okay.
Which, I mean, obviously we expect to have joy in good relationships,
Yeah.
but the blog seems to be saying it's more than just having a good time.
Oh, yeah. It's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's like this deep feeling you get when you know you're understood and accepted.
Yeah.
Flaws and all.
Yeah.
It's that joy you get from shared experiences, like
Mhm.
inside jokes.
Yeah.
It's the joy of knowing someone really gets you,
Right.
like really deep down.
Yeah.
It's a joy that makes you feel good all over.
Like you belong.
Yeah,
You're,
not alone.
yeah.
And that joy just keeps growing the longer the relationship goes on. It's like a garden.
Okay.
The more you care for it, the better it gets.
Yeah.
You put work into the relationships and you get so much joy out of it.
So we've talked about why these quality connections are so important.
Yeah.
But the thing I like about this blog is that it actually tells us how to cultivate those relationships.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm really interested to see what they have to say.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's great to understand all this.
Yeah.
But we need to know how to actually use this in our own lives.
Okay, so the blog gives us 5 steps.
Okay.
And the first one is be present.
That sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah. But what does that really mean? Like, how do we show up for someone in a way that builds that deeper connection?
Yeah, it's more than just like sitting next to someone.
Right.
You have to be present mentally and emotionally too.
Okay.
Like put your phone away, ignore distractions, and really give that person your full attention. You have to really listen.
Yeah.
Don't just wait until it's your turn to talk.
Yeah.
Like really listen to what they're saying
Okay.
and like notice their body language.
Okay.
And then when you respond, show that you're really trying to understand their perspective.
Yeah, it's so easy to get distracted.
Oh, I know.
Like our phones are always buzzing, there's emails to check.
Yeah, we're constantly connected.
And it's so tempting to just glance at social media.
Yeah, but that's exactly why it's so important to be present.
Right.
Because you're making a choice.
Yeah.
You're saying, this person is important to me and I want to focus on them right now.
Yeah.
That's like a gift.
It really is.
You're giving them your time and attention.
Yeah, it's like saying you matter without actually having to say it.
Exactly. Your actions really do speak louder than words.
Okay, the next step the blog talks about is open communication.
Okay.
And it emphasizes honesty. Why is honesty so important for building deep connections?
Well, honesty is the foundation of trust
Okay.
and intimacy. When you can be vulnerable with someone and share your feelings, even the uncomfortable ones,
Yeah.
it creates this really deep connection.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing the real you.
Yeah.
And that includes having difficult conversations.
Yeah, I mean,
Because sometimes you have to.
it's going to happen eventually.
Right, exactly.
And it's hard to be honest when you're worried about hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah, I know. It's not always easy.
Or like starting a fight.
Right, but those tough conversations can actually be good for the relationship.
Really?
Yeah. Because they can lead to more understanding
Okay.
and a stronger bond.
So how do we do that? Like, how do we have those hard conversations in a way that's productive?
So first you want to pick the right time and place.
Okay.
Don't try to have these conversations when you're stressed or in a rush or upset.
Right.
Wait until everyone's calm.
Okay.
And then when you do start talking, try to be understanding.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
use I statements so you're not blaming them.
Yeah.
Because the goal is to connect and understand each other, not to fight.
So it's about being honest, but also compassionate.
Exactly.
Like finding that middle ground.
Yeah, you have to create a space where you both feel safe to talk openly.
So the next step the blog talks about is time investment.
Okay.
It says relationships are like gardens.
Oh, I like that.
You have to take care of them if you want them to grow.
That's a really good analogy.
But life is so busy.
Yeah, it really is.
How do we find the time for those quality connections when we're so busy?
You just have to make them a priority.
Okay.
Sometimes you have to say no to other things.
Yeah.
So you can spend time with the people who really matter.
It's easy to let those connections slip away.
I know, but even little things can make a difference.
Yeah, like what?
Well, you could have a standing coffee date with a friend.
Oh, okay.
Or have dinner with your family regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Even just calling someone instead of texting them.
Right.
Just make those connections a regular part of your life.
So like consistency is better than just like one big gesture every now and then.
Yeah, exactly.
The next one the blog talks about is showing appreciation.
I like this one.
Why is it so important to tell people how much we appreciate them?
Because everyone wants to feel appreciated.
Okay.
When you tell someone that you appreciate them, it makes them feel good.
Right.
But it also makes your bond stronger.
Okay.
Because it reminds you why you value that relationship.
Yeah.
And why it's worth the effort.
It's like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah, you appreciate them, they feel good, and it makes you closer.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything big.
Right.
Little things can go a long way.
Yeah, like what?
Well, you could just say thank you. Or
Yeah.
write them a note. Or just do something nice for them.
Right.
The thought that counts.
It's like making a deposit in that emotional bank account.
Exactly.
Okay. The last step is generous support.
Okay.
How can we be there for people when they need us, especially when they're going through a hard time?
So this is about being supportive.
Okay.
You know, listening to them, helping them out if you can,
Mm-hmm.
or just being there to comfort them.
Yeah.
Just let them know they're not alone and that you care.
Yeah.
Be their safe space.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful not to overstep your boundaries.
Right.
You're there to support them, not to take over their problems.
Yeah.
Just help them find their own solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Be there for them, but don't take control.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot.
We have.
We started with popularity and how that changes as we get older.
Yeah.
Then we talked about those deep connections. And now we've learned some ways to build those connections.
Yeah, this is really interesting stuff.
I'm really enjoying this deep dive. Yeah, it really makes you think about, like, what's important.
Yeah, it's not about just collecting friends or followers.
Right.
It's about building those real connections that matter.
Exactly. And I think this blog really gives us the tools to do that.
Yeah, we're not just talking about ideas here. We're talking about real strategies.
Right. We can actually use this stuff in our lives.
Yeah, we can take control of our relationships. We don't have to just leave it up to chance.
So it really all comes back to that idea of quality over quantity.
Totally.
It's not about how many people we know.
Right.
It's about how well we know them.
And how much those relationships mean to us.
Yeah, those are the ones that make us happy,
The ones that support us.
the ones that make us feel like we belong.
Yeah, those are the relationships that really make life worth living.
I'm so glad we did this deep dive.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to add? Like, is there something our listeners can do to start applying this stuff?
I would say think about someone you haven't talked to in a while.
Okay.
Like someone who you really connect with.
Yeah.
Maybe a friend or someone in your family, even a mentor,
Okay.
and reach out to them.
Okay.
You know, maybe ask them to get coffee or just call them
Yeah.
or even just send a text.
Yeah.
Just make an effort to reconnect.
Right.
See what happens.
You never know. It could turn into something really special.
Yeah, those connections are worth it.
I love that. Thanks for joining us today.
It was fun.
And thanks to everyone listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Remember, it's about quality over quantity.
Absolutely.
So go out there and build those strong, meaningful relationships.
And don't forget to appreciate the ones you already have.
That's great advice. See you next time.